Hello, Ray Phoenix here, and we're back at the arcade playing some more classics, right? We have to shoot at them bugs out in space. And yeah, that's how you play this game. You just shoot at the bugs. There's no scores, no nothing. You simply shoot at stuff. They never try to kill you. It's the best game ever. Right now, that's not what we're going to be playing. We're playing Ridge Racer Revolution, the sequel to the original Ridge Racer for the PS1. So to begin, we'll go to the course. There's 3 different courses in this game. Yeah, 3 different tracks. These people were lazy. They couldn't put more in. So then there's, I'll be the blue Silvaloo. Why? Because why not? I love a Silvaloo. I love driving those things that are named after those fighter bomber things from Ridge Racer. So we got a chick in a bikini, which came straight out of Balrog stage from Street Fighter 2 on the Genesis. It's just walking out there, telling us when to begin the race. And so the race has commenced. And so we see Pac-Man on the side in its classic Ridge Racer fashion. And yeah, so what's there to say? So we just keep driving by here, hitting the cars. The cars do funny things when you hit them. It's nothing like real life when you hit a car. It's completely smashed. But of course, since when have these games ever stayed true to being accurate to, real life? Even the Gran Turismo games are like that too. You hit cars and they don't actually get smashed. These cars are indestructible. I wonder what these cars are made out of, and I wonder if they'll ever make cars like that in real life. Only time will tell till that happens. I see it looks like we're in Tahiti or some place like that, or some place where there's palm trees everywhere. These cardboard palm trees. Palm trees are clearly made out of cardboard because they came straight out of the Sega Genesis. This game actually does contain most of the same content that the original Virtua Racer on the Sega Genesis contained. But then again, this game does play better overall and looks a lot better overall than Virtua Racer on the Sega Genesis, of course, because this is the PS1, so naturally it is going to be better than the SNES and Sega Genesis. And so, you see, we're just about finished the first lap. We're in 5th place. We just passed that guy, and they use the font that was used in the 8-bit font used in a lot of Nintendo NES games and a lot of classic Namco games. Ridge Racer is by far Namco's greatest racing game series. I really like this Ridge Racer series. I think it's better than Gran Turismo a lot of the time, because it just cuts straight to the chase where you can race your car. It's not overly realistic, which is good. You don't really need You don't need to be overly realistic in a racing game. Racing games, especially in this era, they don't need to be realistic. They try to be realistic. But of course, just like the first game, if it were 1995 right now and I was playing this, I would say that these are some of the best graphics I've ever seen. Ever. But of course, it's not 1995 right now. It's, sometime in the far future, so no, I wouldn't know. So, there's better stuff. Like I said, I play stuff on PS2 and Xbox. We passed the Air Combat sign again. My father loves Air Combat, but me, not so much. I don't think Air Combat's that good of a game. I might make a video of that game eventually, but it's not overly great. But then again, I have a long list of videos I want to make, because as I said before, I'm getting a 4TB hard drive in like a week or so, or a few weeks or so from now, and I'm going to be able to make more videos. I'll have more storage space, so you can expect to see a lot more stuff from me, a lot more of me just randomly crashing into walls like an idiot. And I hope I could get monetized for this someday in the future too. That would be awesome if I could make money off smashing computer-generated cars on my screen. And look at that, I was going so fast that I went flying off the track right there. I hit the extension time. It doesn't make any cool jingles like it does in Virtua Racing, but with a really good musical score like this, who really needs that? And I believe this is one of those PS1 games where if you put the disc into a CD player or a computer, it could play music CDs, which pretty much every computer with a disc drive ever made could do that. You could play the music on your computer. You can even save it on your computer if you're using a newer computer. So, yeah, so you could have a soundtrack for your own use. Or you can just go on YouTube and find the soundtrack on YouTube. The whole soundtrack is there on YouTube, so that's what YouTube is for. YouTube is our #1 source of entertainment. It replaced the TV as being the main source of entertainment. Who needs TV when you have YouTube? There used to be TV shows on TV where they show people playing games, but they don't have this anymore because they're on YouTube now. So now that was a beginner race. We won. You don't really get anything. It just says game over on the screen. That's the worst award you could, or reward, or whatever you call it, that you could possibly give to someone for winning a race. Even though it was novice, you still deserve a really good medal for that. But these people weren't really going for that. So here's the more advanced, the more intermediate track. And boy, the game gets a lot more difficult here. It's so fast and filled with all sorts of radical twists and turns and everything like that. More action. And there's that guy from the Tekken games that looks like Count Olaf from a series of unfortunate events. and slowing down. I think everything drives faster. I think the game plays faster on, intermediate mode. It's only 3 tracks, and each one's a different difficulty setting, just like in the Virtua Racer, and those Virtua Racer games. I think my personal favorite Ridge Racer game is definitely R4, Ridge Racer Type 4. I really like Ridge Racer Type 4. I might make some more videos of that game in the future. Who knows, I'll make an LP of that game where I play through the whole game, or let's play the whole tournament mode, story mode, whatever you want to call it. Maybe I should do that someday. I know I made a video of that game a few years ago, but it wasn't one of my best videos. And then again, most videos I made a few years ago weren't necessarily the best, but then again, a lot of people, when they begin their channels, they don't really, have the best content. And in the system, the play control system's kind of odd, where you have to stop up, let go of the accelerate, turn your car around drastically, then accelerate, and then it does some sort of like freaky, like ching, 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 like with a constant twist turn. It doesn't work very well in this game. In R4, it worked very well, but in this game, if you try doing that, it sends you straight into a wall. Another interesting thing about this game came out in 1995, so that was before the PlayStation's analog controller was invented. So the analog control sticks on your PlayStation controller were not really supposed to do anything with this game, but with the emulator, they can be used to play this game, but the play control feels very awkward, as a friend of mine reported. That's why I said, this is why you don't use analog control, because games like this weren't designed for analog control. So it seems odd playing this on an emulator of analog control. What's the play this on emulator? Because, people don't really like buying actual classic games anymore. No one does that anymore. Everyone likes using emulators now. Everyone uses the emulators these days. It's all about the emulators. Now this is the third track of the game. It doesn't look much different from the second track in the game because they're pretty much the same mostly. This is the expert track. See, look, even has the same advertisements with Count Olaf on, and then there's the same bridge, the same rocky landscape things that look like they were digitized on their digitized photos. See those chevrons telling you to go right. And then there's someone's house. I wonder who'd want to live near a racetrack. That must suck. It must be really cheap to live in a house like that on account of no one wants it. So they should just take poor homeless people and make them move into houses here so they can watch their races in this. See, I'm just doing right now, I was talking about earlier where I was like twisting and turning the car around and then just sends you straight in a wall. If this is real life, your car would be dead if you did that. It would be smashed up. But thankfully, as I said before, they weren't really thinking about realism with this game. And I can see still the tunnel effects, and it has a lot of, R4 really does have a lot of what these original older Ridge Racer games have. And even as you have a Pac-Man on them, yes, the R4 Ridge Racer Type 4 is by far a much better game than this. And, it's pretty much better in every way. The music's better, the controls are better, the gameplay's better. So yeah, so if you really want a good Ridge Racer game, if you can only have one Ridge Racer game, get R4. But this game isn't all of the best. I mean, if you're playing it on an emulator for free, yeah, I'd recommend getting it if you're on an emulator for free, but I wouldn't recommend paying actual money for a game like this. You see, it looks like it just suddenly became nighttime out of nowhere, racing at night, but for some reason, the road is still, very bright, still painted very bright. I don't know, is the road lit up? There are lights in the road? It almost looks like the surface of the moon sometimes because of how pixelated it looks. Come to imagine the surface of the moon would look something like that. A poorly textured PS1 game. Yeah, they probably got the texturing ideas for PS1 from stuff they found on the moon. But again, if it wasn't for the moon missions, we wouldn't have a lot of the most advanced technology we have. Every technology we'd have now would be the we have it at home version of the technology we have now. Like where the kid says, "Mom, can we get some video games?" And the mom says, "We have video games at home." And video games at home are, like this Ridge Racer at home. It would just be you take toy cars and you put them on a physical racetrack and you have to drive around them. Or like that thing I got when I was in Christmas of 1999 where you take the cars and you put them on the electric track and then you pull the trigger and then the cars drive on the electrified racetrack. And they drive so fast they break. I was never really a fan of those. So yeah, you've pretty much seen all you really need to see of this Ridge Racer. What's more is there to say? It's just a sequel to the original Ridge Racer. This is Ray Phoenix signing out.